Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare.
To the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to our Sunday Love Feast program. And as you may know, today is the 39th anniversary of our Lordships. Hari Bol!
Hari Bol.
We are also honored to have His Holiness Bhakti Caitanya Swami in our association today. So we are very appreciative towards that. Just a reminder about cell phones. It's either you can switch them off or you can put them on silent mode. So, a little bit about His Holiness Bhakti Caitanya Swami. His Holiness Bhakti Caitanya Swami, a disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada, has been preaching Krishna consciousness since 1973. As an initiating spiritual master in ISKCON, he serves on the GBC and travels extensively to preach in countries like South Africa, India, and Russia. He is also an accomplished author, photographer, and filmmaker. One of his notable activities is documenting his pilgrimage tours to the holy Dham of Vrindavan, where devotees can immerse themselves in devotional activities and deepen their connection to Krishna. So, on that note, dear devotees, I hand you to His Holiness Bhakti Caitanya Swami. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. They actually all know all that already. They've heard it at least 50 times. But anyway, thank you. Yes, right. Oh, Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachare Yamunatira Vanachare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachare Yamuna Tira Vanachare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Status Samad. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki, Sri Sri Radha Radhanath Ki, Sri Giri Govardhan Ki, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu Ki, Sankirtan Yagya Ki, Gopremanande. All glories to their Samal devotees. All glories to their Samal devotees. All glories to their Samal devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, devotees, as we heard a few minutes ago, today or around today is the 39th anniversary of the opening of the Sri Sri Radhanath temple and of the installation of the deities Sri Sri Radhanath and particularly Lord Caitanya. Sri Giri Govardhan came later, but they were installed on this day, or approximately this day, in 1985. as a matter of interest, how many of you were here and took part in the opening festival, 3-day festival? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's a few of you. Okay, not so many, but some. All right, very good. I think some of you may not have been alive. I was, but I was 39 years younger. It has made a difference. But anyway, so they asked me to say some things about the opening of the temple and, related matters, which I will do now. And I'll begin before the actual opening, and I assume we'll have time to go through what I've sort of made notes of here. It's an interesting story. So, and also, I assume or hope we're going to pass around a questions sheet. Is that correct? Oh, we've got? Okay, sure. So we'll pass around one for the men, one for the ladies, yes. Questions sheet. Please feel free to write down any questions under the circumstances, perhaps particularly about the opening and the events which led up to it and so on. Yes. Right, so first of all, there's some prayers. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dejatarane Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Yes, so temple opened around this time in 1985. It was a major occasion. Anyway, we'll explain about the actual occasion itself when we get there, but I would say we can begin by making the point that the land which this temple is sitting on, and not like where the prasadam tent is and the other buildings there, and then the other land on that side, but it's about 1 acre of land, was offered to us. I was not here at the time, but it was the late 70s, as I was told, late 70s. And we purchased this land, would you believe, devotees, for 2 rands. Well, okay. It's a fact. No joking. 2 rands. You know who you were applauding? Not me. The National Party. the apartheid National Party. Anyway, that was one good thing they did. No, it's in this world, it's more or less impossible for anyone who's materially conditioned, like a materialist as such, to do that. Just everything they do, without exception, will be either good or bad. Like all good or all bad. It just is impossible. So even someone as extreme as Adolf Hitler did a few good things. Anyway, let's not get into it, but the National Party did something good. They let us have this land for 2 rands. Later we got the rest of the land. What? It was still the apartheid time, National Party time, but then they had changed the policies. So the other, it is approximately 5 acres. We had to pay 26,000 rands, which compared to 2 sounds a lot. I mean, it is. But compared to what 5 acres of land like this in a built-up area would cost now, or would have even cost at that time, it's not very much. So yeah, so that's how we got all the land that we had. But initially we had this land for 2 rands. And devotees, there are a number of things you wouldn't be aware of even if you were here for the opening. Were you aware that in the initial plans that were drawn up for this, the building itself, the temple room was not going to be here. This was not going to exist. The temple room was going to be the floor beneath. The devotees thought that would be big enough. Next time, well, anyway, you can just, when you go outside, you can look back and you'll see that the land, the next floor down, is much smaller than this, where we are right now. I mean, it's just really, I don't know, half the size or less perhaps. But do you know where the idea came from to make this floor, to add a floor and make it big like this? Again, would you believe, Mr. Raj Bansi, yes, Mr. 7% himself, if you're familiar with all of that business. But anyway, yeah, Mr. Raj Bansi, who was our friend for years and many years. He was our friend and he helped in so many ways. Yeah, right. Okay, so next stage in the whole process, which led up to the construction of the temple where we're sitting right now, was that you may be aware that when a temple is built, at least a proper Vaishnav temple, like an ISKCON temple or, you know, other organizations, if they're genuine Vaishnav organizations, is that a deity of Ananta Shesh is placed in or under where the foundations are going to go. Ananta Shesh is a form of the Supreme Lord. He is the transcendental serpent. The transcendental serpent upon whom, for example, Lord Vishnu lies. I'm sure you've seen paintings, pictures of Lord Vishnu reclining on a serpent, right? Usually with Lakshmi Devi, his wife, by his feet, massaging his feet. So, yes, he is supporting the whole material world, and then he is supporting, would you believe, the entire spiritual world. And when temples are built, like this temple, like our temple in Phoenix at that time, then a deity of Ananta Shesh is placed directly under the spot where the deities, the worshipable deities, that'll be worshipped when the temple's open and functional, but directly under where the deities are going to stand. So that, and normally, what they do above, directly above, say the deity is down several feet from here. If this is going to be the first level above where, of the temple, then they will build a little structure. It's usually a four-sided structure, but it comes to a point. The four sides come to a point like a pyramid. Like a pyramid over the actual spot, so nobody walks over the actual spot. And so it's a reminder that Anantashesha is here. Now, unfortunately, as fate would have it, and as things worked out, I don't know exactly how it happened or why, but the place is not marked like that. But the place is basically, if you go down, devotees like congregation don't normally really go down that way, often at least. But if you go down, the kitchen, which is on the ground level, right at that end of the building. So when you go down from there, there's stairs going down from there, and there's another little basement level, and devotees sometimes cut vegetables for the restaurant and do things like that. So Anantashesha is under there somewhere. That's a fact. He's down there somewhere. So that was done in 1980. That was done in 1980. There was nothing else here. It was just, grass and undergrowth and so on. I was there. There was, it was a bit of a festival, nothing very substantial, but I remember being here for that. So Anantashesha is basically more or less, like approximately, under the deities down on that level. Right, so then devotees, so that was 1980, then we had to raise the funds for building the temple, and look at it, to replace it. It's insured, actually I'm not sure for how much, but to replace it, I don't know if it would be much less than 100 million rands, but it would really be a lot to replace it as is. Would cost a small fortune. So we all, the devotees, means the full-time devotees living in the temples, we had to collect the money. So what we did, well, there were some Indian devotees like, Tribhanga Sundar Prabhu. I'm sure some of you would know him. He's up in Joburg, but you would remember him. He was here for some time. And Sri Hari Prabhu, you remember Sri Hari Prabhu? Some of you would know him. So devotees like that, just a small group, they went out selling pictures like prints of the rasa dance and other scenes like that amongst the Indian community to raise some funds. And they raised some funds. But the vast majority of the funds for building this temple, by vast majority I mean, I don't know the exact proportions, but probably in the vicinity of 90%, because it cost a few million rands even at that time. So the vast majority, maybe 90%, not much less, if at all less, was collected by us, by me, and Parthasarathi Maharaj. You all know Parthasarathi Maharaj. And other devotees. I know, do you know Mother Vishaka Priya, South African? She's been in Vrindavan for many years, from a French background. She was there. Do you remember Shruta Kirti Prabhu, who was the temple president for some time? Yes. So, oh, and of course, how can I forget His Grace Ramanujacharya Prabhu? He and I were a team. We went out and raised funds by, would you believe, selling ordinary paintings. Hare Krishna. By ordinary, I mean like paintings of bowls of flowers, mountains with rivers and lakes, you know, the sort of very general sort of thing. It was a special strategy. We were getting the paintings, first of all from Korea, then from Hong Kong, for next to nothing. And we really made a very good profit in terms of percentage from selling those paintings. It was really quite amazing. And I still remember our biggest week that we had was the week immediately before Christmas in 1984. 1984, that week. We, between us, we were a group of like 15 to 20, it fluctuated a bit, but say 15 to 20 devotees. We raised that week little over 250,000 rands, which, you know, I mean, and that was, what, 40 years ago. And in those days, devotees, the rand was approximately 1.5 rands to $1. Let us not talk about what it is today. Let us not make any comments on the people managing the country who allowed it to get to whatever level it's at today. But anyway, in those days it was about 1.5 rands to $1. When I came 1980, it was $1.33 to 1 rand. It is Kali Yuga. So we had to sell these paintings. And you know what we did? We had to go in total disguise. Total disguise. So we all, including Partha Maharaj, Ramanujacharya, Madhavi Prabhu, you may know Madhavi Prabhu, and Shrutakirti Prabhu, and you probably, I don't know if you'd remember Vardanya Prabhu from America, big kirtan leader, whoa. And Gokulendra Das, who's in Cape Town, but not really very active in Krishna consciousness. So devotees like these, we were all out there like, it varied from time to time, but 15 to 20 or so devotees. And when I say we were in disguise, undercover, we all cut off our seekers, grew hair, took off our neck beads, and 24/7 pretty much just wore ordinary clothes and went shop to shop, door to door, and we did exhibitions in shopping malls and sold these paintings. And they were not very Krishna conscious. You had to use your imagination. Like, yes, this bowl of flowers would be nice to offer it to Krishna. But in and of itself, it was completely mundane. But the people lapped it up. And, you know, because at the time, the majority white population, we were selling them to the white population. Majority white population was Afrikaans. very Afrikaans. And we were not Afrikaans. And we were not we didn't have time to learn Afrikaans. We were so busy. So we would go, myself and Ramanujacharya, we were a team, and we were going shop to shop all over, from Cape Point to Bait Bridge. You know what Bait Bridge is? It's the most northern point in this country. And from, let's say, Durban to Etosha. You know where Etosha is? In Namibia. It's big nature reserve. Huge, full of wild animals. Yeah, we went through Namibia from top to bottom. Yes, and selling paintings. Well, even in Namibia, the Africa, they all, from German backgrounds, or Afrikaans, many of them, but they didn't speak English, and we didn't speak Afrikaans, except for a few words. Ek kan 'n klein bietjie Afrikaans praat. That's almost as far as it goes. But somehow, so we were going shop to shop in all these little dorpies and just everywhere. And we go into a shop, and in English we'd say, we got these paintings we want to show you. They'd say, okay, this is the staff. And so they'd respond in Afrikaans, or every time. We'd respond in English. They'd respond again in Afrikaans. We would respond in English. And it didn't take long before they got the idea we were going to have a discussion in English, which we did. So, right. And we had to go like door to door, and in the evenings, the shopkeepers, sometimes we go visit their houses and like this, and they'd always offer us something to drink. And, the usual stuff. And we would refuse. And then they'd offer us, what they'd offer next? Take a guess. Coca-Cola. And we normally don't drink Coca-Cola. But we would accept Coca-Cola because we felt if we refuse Coca-Cola, they already think it's weird enough that we don't drink liquor. But if we refuse Coca-Cola, then we must be really weird. So, over the few years we drank, don't ask me how many liters of Coca-Cola. And I'll be quite honest, I didn't notice any effect, from the so-called effect of Coca-Cola. I didn't notice anything at all. So that went on from April, in like a serious way, from April 1982 to the time of the opening, 39 years ago. That program went on, and we actually collected millions of rands to build this, to buy what was at least our place in Johannesburg, and develop that and some other places. So it was very successful. Right. And we would come back here for Cato Ridge. I would imagine a number of you visited Cato Ridge, our temple out there. It was sold in 86, just after this temple was opened. 86, I think, or 87 maybe. So we'd come back to Cato Ridge for festivals, Gorpanima, Janmashtami, etc., and have big kirtan. And then Radhanath, they arrived, actually I don't know exactly when, but during the course of the construction, It could have been 82 when the collecting really got like full steam ahead. And anybody who could move was selling paintings, other than the devotees building the temple and the pujaris at Cato Ridge. And, it was only those who were not strong enough to come out with us, who were kept back at Cato Ridge to worship the deities, literally nobody else. So, but Radhanath came, they may have come in later 82 or something, maybe it was 83 even, but I remember after those festivals, it would be like a weekend event generally, or whenever it was, but then we would go off to wherever we're going to go. And when Radhanath were there, well, we had some flats. Oh, you know what happens if that happens twice? We confiscate the telephone and sell it to defray costs. How would you like it if... Anyway, okay. So, right, we'd go down and have darshan of the deities in Hillary. When you're driving from central Durban along the highway, and then you turn off at the end of the Higginson Highway, then you pass Hillary. You know where Hillary is? That other highway goes up there. What's it called? Anyway, the other highway goes up. And there's a block of flats there still there. Like very kind of cheap-o, very plain flats. And we rented, like Raj Ram and his wife, he was in charge of the construction and designed it, and he was the engineer. They were living there, and we were paying per month devotees 45 rands for like I think they were mainly 2-bedroom, and not small, they're like, quite decent flats. Yes, so we'd go down and have darshan of Radhanath. So then we come to the time of the opening, and it was a 3-day festival. Yes, there was a big tent out on the car park, one of these ones that has a frame and no poles in the center. And even at the sides, the sides are vertical. And it goes up and over, big. So everything went on inside there, the great majority. There were 4 Havan Kunds, and we had this devotee, his name's Gaur Keshava Das, Prabhupada disciple. He's like a big pujari type. So he organized all the ceremonial side of things. And he arranged for those havans. And then on the Saturday, if I remember correctly, the actual installation of the deities took place down there in the tent, this big, big tent. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was here. The GBC at that time, Bhagavan Das, he was here. Mr. Buthelezi came. We managed to get hold of him through a devotee in London, because Mr. Buthelezi attended university apparently in London, and he got to know this devotee whose family name is Desai. So we managed to track down that devotee, and he contacted Mr. Buthelezi and asked, would you be willing to come to this event? And Mr. Buthelezi was very happy to come. He was really happy. So he came, and the mayor came, some elderly white gentleman, and he was okay. So Mr. Bhutta Lazy, when Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj gave his speech, it was a really good one. And at the end, he declared that, now of course he was well aware of the apartheid situation and the segregation, but he said that this ISKCON is the United Nations of the spiritual world. And everyone was ecstatic, including Mr. Bhuttalese. And Mr. Bhuttalese jumped up and embraced him. Yeah, it was great. It was really nice. On one of the evenings, I forget which one, Bhutta Puja was done. Bhutta Puja. Yes, you know. What do they call it? The evil eye? What do they call it? It begins with N. Naja. Naja. To get all the naja out. Right. So that was done, and they had pumpkins. It was done right here, actually. And I was not right here. I was doing something out. But then I came in, it was dark, and these devotees came running out with these pumpkins and almost ran me over, and then started smashing the pumpkins. And he had, anyway, yeah, so that was there. And it was great. It was just great. On the Saturday, or maybe the Sunday, the final day, probably, we did a fireworks exhibition on the property, and it was a like big time fireworks display, really big time. That night, 120,000 people were here. It was packed. It was just beyond packed. And the traffic in Chatsworth came to a halt. The whole of Chatsworth, the traffic was just bumper to bumper for like, I don't know, half an hour or so while this exhibition was going on. Oh yeah, it was spectacular, really spectacular. So there you go, devotees. Those are a few things. You know, I'm sure like next year will be the 40th, and I'm sure we'll go into it all in much more detail and have other devotees who are present at the time. But that gives you some idea of what happened, and background too, to the opening of this Sri Sri Radha Radhanath temple. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ke. Sri Sri Radha Radhanath ke. And you know me, if you've been coming regularly to the programs, I always end up late. It's terrible, isn't it? But I've got questions here. It looks like several at least. Maybe till the curtains open, I'll just do a question or two. Let's see. I believe there's a self-manifested Brahman thread on Krishna. Is my belief correct? It's correct. When we would go down there, we would see that. Now, if you want to see that, you can. But you must get second initiation and become a pujari. And then you will see it. So please do. Are there any other self-manifested features? Not that I'm aware of. Is there other land nearby that belongs to ISKCON? It's just the land down the bottom. You know, they first offered us, apparently I was not here, but this land, you see this temple on the other side, on the top. I believe they offered us that land, but we wanted to get this land because this is closer to the highway and it's more prominent. That's kind of a bit further out of the way. Right. Was there a plan for a hall initially? You know, there have been many plans for many halls. The halls are still unmanifest. if you've got spiritual vision, maybe you can see big, beautiful hall down there. But I believe there's an absence of an important element, and that is Lakshmi. So if you'd like to help with the manifestation of a really nice hall, then you can by giving some Lakshmi. What can we do to continue to develop the temple for the next 39 years? Well, you know, preaching is the essence. Srila Prabhupada said that, and he did that. Preaching is the essence. We're all sitting here, and we're sort of in a spiritual comfort zone, you could say. Yeah. But, you know, in order to spread Krishna consciousness, then we, like Srila Prabhupada did, we would have to get out of our comfort zone and just get out there and meet the people. Because that's what this Krishna consciousness movement is about. That's what the movement of Lord Caitanya is about. That's what Lord Caitanya did. He spread the Krishna consciousness movement, and that's what Prabhupada did. Even though Sri Radha, Radhanath, Sri Giri Govardhan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. That's what Prabhupada did, even though he was, when he arrived in the West, 66, he was around 70 years old. Yeah. And, you know, he didn't do a lot. Like, he didn't travel much for some time. He really started traveling, I think, 67. He went to San Francisco from New York. Then he went to Canada. Yeah. So, but by that time, he was already in his 70s. And those of you who are in your 70s, like me, you know that it's different from even just being in your 60s. Being in your 60s is like a piece of cake. Means it's easy, no problem. Be in your 50s, you're like a young boy or a young girl compared to being in your 70s. But that's what he did. He got out and circled the world in, say, 10 years or so, 12 times. Yeah. So, okay. So we've got to preach, which usually involves getting out of our comfort zone until you get a little used to it, and then you find preaching becomes your comfort zone. That you like it. It's nice. You want to get out there and meet the people and speak to the people and try to convince the people. That's what we need to do. So here is a memory from one devotee who was here. I came to this function, it was jam-packed. So to see their lordships was quite a mission. Yet through it all, we made it into the temple. I was on my late father's shoulders at the time. I was the first of my family to see the Lord. And this is from Thivan Govinda. Where are you? There he is, back there. Haribol. Well done. Good work. Very good. Please tell us about the sale of English paintings. Well, you know, I mentioned it already. That's about all you need to know. They were paintings. We sold them as oil paintings. But, you know, most oil paintings nowadays, done by even sort of prominent artists, they do them with acrylic paints. Because acrylics dry much faster. Oil paints take a week to dry. So, yeah. How has this temple affected the country? well, you're a member of the country, so how's it affected you? Many people have been affected by this temple. Nelson Mandela came twice. I took him around the first time. He wasn't president, he just got out of jail. And I showed him around the first time. He was really impressed and very, extremely nice. We came in from the bridge there. He bowed down on his hands and knees, offered obeisances to Prabhupada. Then we came and sat over there with our MC. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Jenny, where Jenny's sitting. He and I sat there, right there, and we're looking back at Prabhupada and Nelson Mandela. He turned to me and he sort of leant forward like in a personal type of mood, and he said I'd been explaining about what Prabhupada had done, and he said to me, he said, how did he do it in that sort of voice? How did he do it? Yeah. So he appreciated Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. Okay, so last one, here we go. By reading others, what? I guess you mean, will reading other scriptures change our minds? You know, I tell you what, if you want to change your mind in the best way, most effective way, so you have a good mind, you know, a Krishna conscious mind, read the literatures, scriptures, translated and commented on by Srila Prabhupada. I would not advise to buy other literatures, frankly, of any sort, but even scriptural literatures. You know, I have read part of the Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, of the Gita Press. You know, have you heard of the Gita Press? They're the biggest printers of religious books in India, in all languages, including English. So I read part of their version of Ramayana many years ago. But you know, the language, the English, it was like 18th century English, like antiquated English. Like the cows, they would say, the kine, K-E-I-N. Have you come across that word? I don't think so. It's totally obsolete, and it was obsolete probably 100 years ago or more. It was so difficult. So yeah, there are challenges, but with Prabhupada's books, first of all, you get the best information. It's just unique, and it's presented so nicely for any any person who's been to school and who studied English for a few years. You'll read it easily. Yes, so, and last, can our Bhagavad Gita help us to control our minds? It can help, certainly. But if you really want to get a good control of your mind, you must chant on beads regularly. It will be the most effective thing. Right, so, Jenny, are you going to make more announcements? Oh, you are. Okay, thank you all very much. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki Jai.
Thank you, Maharaj, for that warm and wonderful class. So devotees, there's just a few announcements. Tomorrow is the disappearance day of Srila Narottam Das Thakur. In this month of Kartik, it's a wonderful time for service to the Lordships, so you can connect with Ishara Mataji at the book table for this. Also, Govardhan Puja is on the 2nd of November, and you can offer sponsorships for this Maha Abhishek. You can also connect with Mataji for this as well. The 2025 calendars are also available at the book table. And if you did not offer your lamps as yet, you can definitely do so after the Aarti has been done. And you can make your offerings to Lord Damodar and Mother Yashoda at the back. And today's Sunday Love Feast Prasadam was prepared by the Puran and Prasad families. So a very big thank you to that family. Prasadam will be a little bit delayed today because this family is putting lots of effort into making big round rotis with lots of extra butter ghee for you. So at the end you can enjoy it as well. So thank you so much, devotees, for attending today. We will now observe Aarti and Kirtan. Thank you.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurabani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavarin Pachachari Satarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Jaya Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, blah blah, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, blah blah, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki. ISKCON's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki. Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki. Prem Se Gurus Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki. Shri Mayapur Dham ki. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki. Shri Giri Govardhan ki. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki. Gaur Premanande. All glories to their Samo devotees. All glories to their Samo devotees. All glories to their Samo devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.